Right shit.
It's gonna be.
So you basically got these two, Canberra, Roosters.
We on.
We're on. There you go.
How good are we going?
Joshy's back. Oh.
You just gonna fucking start talking or what?
Are we going to, we're good to go. We don't have to wait for the intro to finish there.
The intro's finished.
There you go. BJ and Game Day back. Joshy is back. Welcome back, boys. Welcome back to me.
Hey mate, how are you?
Good,
Wheels
buddy.
fall
Good.
off. Since you
Yeah.
come back, what's doing?
Mate, look, it wouldn't be a BJ and Game Day show without us fucking something up. So, there you go. But, mate, good to be back. Down here in Canberra overnight, just on the way through. Came down for some family events this weekend, and I thought I'll pop in and put the face back on the channel, mate, and see what's going on. So, it's look, mate, I won't lie. It's been a very, very quiet off season for me, footy wise. I've had a look at a few teams here and there. I've sort of put together a couple of draft teams, but I've definitely been out of the comment sections a lot. Haven't really been into the sort of draft pages too much in that either. So, look, it'd be interesting. A couple of weeks ago till kickoff, and yeah, mate, I think I'll jump back on board basically from here on, full swing. So
Beautiful.
every Tuesday night, mate, we'll be there at 9 o'clock for all the fans to watch, or 8 o'clock Brizzy time if they're watching. So, yeah, very keen, mate, very keen.
Good stuff, mate. Good to have you back, and always good to see you in the flesh, mate. We don't get to do it too often anymore, but good to have you, mate. And just a bit of an impromptu one tonight. So,
Mate, very impromptu.
a few trials on getting played today. We're watching just the end of Penrith at the moment as well. Yeah, plenty of footy been played today, which has been good. Got a bit of an idea of what might be happening with a few guys this season, maybe.
Yep.
And yeah, have you actually been able to catch any of it? Or
Mate, I watched the Doggies and Sharks trial just earlier. Obviously being a Sharkies boy, and that wasn't too bad from the Sharks there. Obviously the Dogs got the Chockies in the end. I think it was 16-12 was the finished score, but definitely changed once the two top sort of grade teams went off the park. I think Cronulla pretty much dominated the first 40 minutes defensively, and I mean they're two teams you probably wouldn't have too much attack with, like not known for their attacking styles, either team, and that was pretty evident the whole way through the game. I think the defence sort of dominated, a little bit of lost ball here and there, but what I did notice is probably the Bulldogs in that second half had a little bit more depth in sort of their seconds team, the guys who were sort of coming on. So I'm not too sure. There was a young lad who played dummy half in the second half, Brad Keats or something his name is. I hadn't heard of him before, but 25-year-old and looked quick.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I think it was probably emphasised by the Sharkies looking slow as well. So yeah, mate, I caught that one. I watched a few highlights of obviously young Joseph Suale in the North Sydney Bears colours there up against Raiders at Seaford Oval this Arvo. So Bogan and I were talking a little bit earlier, saying that obviously, members had the rights to tickets first, and there weren't too many, fans out there, just COVID reasons and stuff like that. So, but mate, he scored a double and played well, and I think a few of the other Roosters boys sort of performed pretty well in the main game there. So, I think both of those teams will be looking forward to a big season again. Yeah.
no, beauty, mate, beauty. I mean, I've only been sort of chiming in for 10 or 15 minutes every now and then when I could today. So I reckon maybe throughout the week it might be nice to go back and watch a couple, because there's been plenty of good, you don't get much out of the results obviously with trials when they're taken off. They might play the full strength 13 the first 20 or 40 and then give the young blokes a go, but there's been plenty of good lineups in terms of the mids and the cheabies. We've been able to see Sam Walker, Colin Matangi, Murdoch Musilla, Suwali. There's been heaps, probably a few from this Penrith game. I think every game, so I think hopefully throughout the week maybe able to pick a couple games out and go watch them again and see how a couple guys went. A couple big ones today. I think looked like Teddy was kicking while TKO was off, which was pretty big, mate. I did not expect that one, that's for sure.
Bit of an interesting one. Obviously, he's only got to kick about 40 or 50% of his kicks, and it's worth something. So, very interesting there. Obviously, we'll have to sort of see what happens from there on. It's probably the one thing that is their weakness, the Roosters, is not having that designated kicker like a lot of other teams do.
Yep.
I mean, even Kyle Flanagan, when he was there, he's not much of a kicker. So, we'll watch this space. And if Teddy gets it, mate, even at 800 odd thousand, he just
Yeah.
becomes a must-have, doesn't he? So
Yeah.
Yes.
So a few interesting ones around, mate. Even with Pap's got the kicking as well, which everyone knew about. But yeah, some really interesting things. And the Rabbits absolutely give it to the Dragons in the Charity Shield, and Latrell and Cody Walker just putting an absolute clinic on. Cody
Yeah.
Walker had a first half hat trick. I think Latrell set up 3 and scored one in that. I think they scored 5 or 6 tries in that first half. So
yeah,
you can't read into too much to it with playing St George, but yeah, not long to go now, mate.
mate. Look, like
probably-
it's probably a game, the Charity Shield, that the Souths have dominated for the last few years. It's the Dragons.
Ninth in a row.
9th in a row. There you go. Yeah, and I mean that's just as much on the Dragons as it is South. They're probably going nowhere, the Dragons, anytime quick. But yeah, it's good to see obviously guys like Latrell and Cody Walker start off the season that quickly, because we've seen in the past, obviously last year when Latrell went to South, he wasn't that effective straight away and need a bit of time to get under legs under him. So be interesting to see how that goes. But mate, I'm sort of excited for Supercoach. As silly as it sounds, a bit of a double effect. I know I sort of haven't done too much in the past couple of months, but I feel like I'm going into this season a bit fresher. Probably the knowledge and the research behind all the different players isn't as deep just yet, but probably over the next 2 weeks I get to jump back into that, which is good. And yeah, mate, I've seen a few posts here or there that pop up on the Facebook feed saying, all going to have the same teams again, and it just never happens that way, mate. There's always different ways you can do it and trying to find different pods, and that's what I've been looking at this season, is basically trying to see, where you can just sort of create that point of difference in your team compared to everyone else's, and try and get that sort of sneaky upgrade here or there.
Even last year's champion didn't have the same teams.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of talk about this fella having more than one team, but well, it is what it is. I mean, other than Shano, I've never seen someone have so many teams. But there you go. Who we got? We got the boys on the Adro's there. Shano. G'day, boys. I'm back.
He's enjoying this trial match, apparently.
No, it's interesting, Joshy, because I reckon a few guys like Latrell and probably Cody Walker as well, especially, probably weren't really in people's teams. A lot of people just going straight with Munster or Teddy, and or even TKO today with the kicking and Teddy with the kicking. There was plenty of guys that didn't have these guys, and all of a sudden now, it's funny watching the domino effect of all of a sudden. Everyone's turning their teams inside out to get some of these guys in. So
I've pretty much done it in the past where I've just got my no-go zone. I've got the Liam Knight fund where everyone sort of gets lost into, and TKO for me, he's always probably been that player, one of those players. In that, I actually like his effort and his ability more, and the goal kicking is always a positive thing. And this year probably he kicks full time there now, which is a big up, but there's always just that 3 or 4 weeks of the season. I think Adro was mentioning last week on the show how sort of Papali, has that 6-week run where he plays brilliant. I find that TKO's got that 3 or 4 week run where he plays terrible. Whether he doesn't get the minutes, whether he doesn't get the scores, whether it's a sort of a 35 or a 40 point score for a few weeks in a row, and I think that can just sort of kill him. And the attacks there, he's got the line breaks here and there, the offload's developed. If he does get the kicking, look, he's definitely something to have a look at. He may just be one that I have to sort of go into a little bit deeper and just see whether I do bring him back in. But it'd be interesting to see sort of how he plays the season out. So,
well, I think he's a really interesting one. Like I said last week to Ados as well, like the front row this year, I'm just not sure. When you look at someone like TKO, I think he's one of the props in the comp that does have a ceiling in him. He has got the attacking stats, and he's going to be kicking goals.
Yep.
But he generally will play 50, 60 minutes, mostly. And there's every chance you spend 560k on him, and you could start with someone like Lodge or Leota or even Murdoch Masilla in the same spot, and they might score 40 or 50.
Yep.
If he's only getting 60, 65, your money, your 200k you saved, is probably better spent elsewhere. But there'll be the odd game where he gets a 90 or 100 probably.
Yep, absolutely.
But I think across the season, it's a better value for money was starting with some guys. This is what I'm looking at, sort of 300, 400k this season, because the props just don't have the same ceilings as other positions.
No.
So.
And it's vital at this time of the year, mate. At the end of the day as well, we know we've got that starting salary cap, 9.9 million. It doesn't buy you a team of 17 guns. It doesn't buy you, the 21 guns that you're going to have by the end of the season there. And, I mean, yeah, where do you spend the money, and do you sacrifice that 600k on a front rower? It's tough through the few draft teams that I've had. I actually have had 2 mid-range front rowers, and now they're probably not 2 people that a lot of people have been talking about since then. And tonight I'll do a team reveal very shortly. But I've changed one of them out just purely because he won't get a starting spot. But I've got Lachlan Burr in there. I just thought him going to North Queensland. We've actually just chucked the North Queensland game on here in front of us, so we'll have a bit of a watch of that the second half. But I'm not too sure sort of what he's going to do. But what I do like is obviously that Warriors connection. Todd Payton's brought him over there. I think you'll see a little bit of opportunity, which is good. And, mate, I think going back 2 seasons ago when we saw him sort of break out for the Warriors, he was a solid player. Now, I think he's 330, 340k.
Yeah, right.
And I can see him... I don't know. We'll have to check the screen when it comes up. But probably actually, speaking of duels, mate, you mentioned it last week in the show, a lot less in the game this year.
Yeah.
A lot less dual sort of position players, whether it's front row, second row, whether it's fullbacks and centre wingers and stuff like that. Obviously, I think, we were speaking earlier, Latrell, just fullback this year. So it makes it a little bit tough when you got that kind of calibre of players at fullback to have everyone.
I mean, you think of most of the premium players in each position, apart from, even from hooker all the way through, there's a couple forwards, but they're, TPJ is probably one that comes to mind that has it, but, the top second rowers, the top halves and, 5'8", fullbacks, they don't have it. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's a few guys I reckon there's a bit of value that have it, but, I think in draft as well, it'll be interesting. Those things will become a lot more valuable as well. So you probably have no idea how many drafts you're in or when the drafts are either. We've got those coming up in the next week.
I haven't got a clue,
so
mate.
You've got about 3 of those in about 4 days, I reckon, that I'll have to tell.
Good old Canberra.
I haven't got a clue.
It's going to get messy.
We're jump on, so
Jesus.
it's all happening. That's all happening.
I tell you what, mate, I'll be doing a few auto picks. I think I'll just have to spend one night where I go in and do the full draft order and just flick on the auto pick and do what I got to do. So, mate, it's been a busy schedule. Monday nights I play soccer, Tuesdays through Saturdays I'm boxing. Mate, I'm with the kids weekends. It's just tough, mate, just finding that time to sort of sit down. And I mean, years gone by, Supercoach, we've been doing it sort of 3-4 nights a week. In the pre-season we're doing 15-20 videos, so it's definitely just toned down for me, mate. And but like I say, I think just that sort of absence makes the heart grow fonder kind of thing.
That's good.
Whereas I think I'll enjoy it a little bit more this season. And it's good to see obviously guys like Kano and Adrian and that get involved. Shano's always putting his hand up as well, so get these boys involved too, and make the BJ brand a little bit stronger and get a few people more involved, which is good.
Well, that reminds me as well, shout out to Shano Footy. He's just started up a draft potty with a couple of his mates.
Nice.
They focus on sort of dynasty, so dynasty,
cool.
A bit of NFL, NBA. So shout out to Shano. Good luck with that, mate. I think they just started up last week. So
we had a crack last year in his NFL fantasy.
Yeah, fucking
Got the victory there. Thank you very much,
Mahomes first,
mate. Oh look, you just got to go to your gut instinct and. Usually for me that works.
Better you than Big Ted anyway.
Well, I tell you what, and I will say that going into that NFL draft last season, I seen blokes picking Saquon and freaking Christian McCaffrey. I'm like,
I picked Saquon, for fuck's sake.
Well, yeah, and then he did his ACL first round. But how can you go, like, I watched the first 5 picks go through and no one picked a quarterback, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? But then not realising sort of there's that many quarterbacks over there that all score good. It's more essential to get those key positions. Do you think that sort of equates a little bit to NRL, mate? Like from a draft point of view?
I don't know. Like I've done a couple mock drafts now, mate, and I don't know. I personally don't think that. I think there's still enough depth in the halves. Maybe not so much hooker, but
I was going to say hookers.
All right.
Hookers, there's not. Fullbacks, you obviously want an elite, but there's still 10 quality ones there. Obviously, Teddy's a head and shoulders. I think Turbo, Pappy, Ponga.
We'll see,
Similar, you got guys
but-
like Brimo, Gutho, like they're all going to be thereabouts, right? You're not going to get your teddies in every position. Hooker much harder, but I still think there's plenty enough to fill gaps in halves later. I'm not freaking on.
We're watching some touch
on,
footy here, Jesus.
On 5'8" and halfbacks like everyone else. I think there's a bit of reach there, to be honest.
Well,
But
and
that's just
see,
my opinion.
this is what I look at is like, to me, I know obviously Teddy's the best player in the game. And he's the best Supercoach player in the game, hands down. I don't think there's any argument there that has to be had. But to me, Cleary is probably the more vital player to have because of probably his dominance as a half in draft. Anyway, I'm talking. Because yes, you're right. The depth at fullback is huge. That all right, you're not going to get an average 95 like Teddy, but you know the 80, 82 averages that you know your turbos or your Guthos or your Brimsons or that can sort of throw in. I think it's sort of less.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said, those guys are you get your top guys. At the end of the day, you still score as many points as you can. I don't think you're going to overlook a Gus or a Maddo over. You know, if you've got those two guys to pick and Dylan Brown's the next best 5'8", you're not going to go Dylan Brown because there's not many 5'8". You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I understand there's a little bit of strategy to the positions you pick, but I don't think it's that bad. But I mean, you look at even guys like Jamal Fogarty. He had the kicking today, shit like that. Like if guys like this are. You know, he's playing with David Fafita out on him, out on his edge as well. I think there's plenty of value out in the halves this year, to be honest.
I mean, I must fuck it up every year in draft.
More so in draft, not
because draft for Supercoach, I really just don't have a fucking clue. Strategy-wise, I go in with a plan, and it must be wrong because I'm always finishing closer to last in draft than first. So,
it's interesting. Like Harry Grant, obviously the MCL, they reckon it could be if it's a grade 1, it's possibly 2-3 weeks, so you know he might be right for round 1. Obviously, there's no point in them rushing him in for round 1. But Turbo as well. Ponga won't start the season. Payne Haas probably won't start the season. So in draft, it's really interesting because you've probably got 4 or 5 guys that easily make up the top 10 picks.
Yeah.
That won't start the year, so it'll be really interesting this year to see how drafts go down in that regard.
Starts to make some choices a little bit easier in Classic as well.
It does. It really does. And I think. You know, with Turbo, I was tossing up between Teddy Turbo or Teddy Ponga for ages, and then obviously Turbo. It's like, all right, well, Teddy Pappy, it is. You know, no decisions.
Well, I've sort of gone somewhere completely opposite to that when we do the team reveal, but let's get it up there, mate. Yeah, let's have a look at the shit that is my team at the moment.
Let's do it, mate.
We're going to start from fullback. All right.
Halfbacks.
Halfbacks. All right. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, I can bring up your forwards first.
Go the forwards first. It just feels more natural to follow how it appears in the app. But
fuck, someone's dropping their guts in real life.
It ain't me.
Fuck.
But there you go. What's the score? Brisbane 18-10.
18-10 after half an hour.
Mate, some fucking touch footy.
Forwards are up.
After half an hour.
All right, what do you got? Nice through, bud.
Mate, hookers. I've gone with Jazz Tavanga. Mate, I just love this bloke. I've had him in draft leagues for years. I've had him there probably a couple of years ago. I was more into him in Classic. Last year he had a few injury concerns and things like that. This is probably more about, we speak about the depth at hooker at the moment. You know, I'm not convinced Cookie's the way to go.
Okay.
I know a lot of people are sort of leaning that way. Obviously Harry Grant's just had that injury. Appy's there, but again, I've sort of had my doubts on Appy. With Smith gone now, look, I had Smith for 80% of the year last year, and that sort of worked out. Yeah, well, actually, that's who I did have in there, was Cam McInnes. When I did my first draft, I had Cam McInnes in there, and he was probably my first player picked.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with what he did last year. Then all of a sudden, the talk came about, obviously, contracts finishing, where he was going to go. The talk around the Sharks signing him and from 2022 onwards and trying to get him in 2021, and all of a sudden the ACL, mate, just a bit of a surprise. So, mate, I've just gone to Jazz. It's sort of saved me, 70, 80 grand depending here or there. And I reckon his work rate, mate, I think he's probably the kind of player that Nathan Brown's gonna enjoy having under him. The work effort through him and what he does, I'm looking forward to seeing him. And so, mate, he's there at the moment. We'll see how that goes. And like a lot of other people, Jacob Little, Just hoping that he obviously gets that majority spot at the Tigers. We see them in a trial tomorrow against Manly. We'll see what happens there. But again, he's one. I always try and sort of avoid those injury players. I've got a few of them in the team this year purely because they're priced where you can't really turn them down.
I reckon the interesting one with Jazz is today Wade Egan's possibly done an elbow. They're saying he could miss the first 4 weeks, or it could be more depending on the injury. So, I mean, all of a sudden, this bloke could be the first choice hooker. I'm not entirely sure what the go is, but this pick here now, I think he's got a whole different dynamic to it if Egan's
Well,
out.
mate, obviously he's out. They've got Carl Lawton over there. They've got a look. They just seem to be a lot of second-rate hookers. You know what I mean? So, but one thing of what I love about Tavanga is, it was sort of like what we saw with Cam McInnes last year. Whenever Hunt came on and went into hooker, McInnes didn't lose any effectiveness with regards to Supercoach. So, obviously I've sent this team through to Bogan earlier today before that sort of injury even came about. And, it probably just enhances the pick even more. Yep. So, yeah. Mate, front row combination. And we've got Junior Paulo. Look, I love what I saw in the fight the other night, how slim he looked, how fit he looked. Myself and the amount of sort of I've been in the ring over the past sort of couple of years, it just gives me more respect for these blokes who are doing it because of how fit you've actually got to be. And I understand obviously the different disciplines, it's completely different in sort of what fitness you need, but he looks slimmer and more effective than ever. What I do I like is the Parramatta team. I think, look, they need something more if they're going to challenge for a premiership, but they're just going to play well week in, week out. Whether they win a game by 6, whether they win a game by 40. And, most of the time it's going to be on the back of this guy and how he sort of sets up that platform. So, look, he could change. He was sort of who I brought in. I did mention earlier that I had a second mid-ranger in there, and that was Isaiah Papali. Yep. Obviously, again, for the Eels. Signed over from the New Zealand Warriors, and I just thought he might have the chance there. But, look, just looking at the depth there with Paulo, RCG, Madison, Lane, Brown, he's just not going to get that starting spot that I'd hoped he would have been able to push for, which is fair enough. At the end of the day, he's got to have to earn that spot. But maybe he could just be a good bench player where you're going to get a good 35, 40 minutes out of him off there. And then on the bench, Ryan James and Spencer Leniu. Look, big Spencer fan. Have been for a couple of years now. Been waiting for him to get a little bit more of an opportunity. We've seen a couple of people leave the Panthers. They have brought a couple on board as well. Yep. But I'm hoping he can snag that starting spot. There's obviously a little bit of talk around Moses Leota doing it, whether it's this guy. So we'll just sort of wait and see there. And, similar thing with Ryan James. We spoke about Jacob Little and his problems with ACLs and that kind of history. Ryan James obviously had that the last few years now as well. So a little bit of a dangerous pick, but at 236k, we've seen him in the past. He's a class player. He's an Origin player, and 3-4 years ago, he's probably arguably one of the best sort of 3 front rowers in the game for Supercoach. So, keen to get him in there and see what happens there.
Yeah, and the duality helps, like I said. There's not a heap of it, so it might come in handy with him.
Yep.
But, he didn't look too bad today. He didn't do nothing special, but he didn't look out of place. I know it was just a trial, but, I think good signs there.
Yeah. Put it this way, if we can get on the field, if he can... look, I think he's good enough to start in that team. I know people are talking about, obviously, Dynamis Lewin, obviously Papali's there and that, but I just think at their peak abilities, he is their best front rower next to Papali. Like, they're together. That's a huge sort of starting combination.
It'll just be whether the age and the time out will hurt him, but I think he's definitely got that. He's got that different level to guys like Louis and Sutton and those guys. Obviously, Papali's world class, but mate, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how he goes.
Mate, back row here. Look, I've gone with Angus Crichton in there. Look, I just think this kid just keeps getting better and better. I really like him. I know that my team's going to have him by the end of the season. You know what I mean? If everything goes according to plan with no injuries and such. Oh, nice try there. Is that Cohen? Or
no, I think it's Wright or Gilbert.
Current score in the trial.
18-16.
It's a bloody cricket score.
Huh? What are you talking about? There's 20 to go in the second half. It's not that bad.
What's going on here? It just started.
No,
No.
it's the second half.
Was
Second
it? I thought
half.
it started at.
No.
It started at 8 o'clock.
I've got a new TV that goes forward in the future.
Yeah.
I
Fucking
thought it
Hampton,
had
he's on it.
off until half an hour ago.
Anyway,
It's a
back
finish.
to it. Angus Crichton, look, Tamalolo, how do you not pick him? I mean, I know there's talk about he's going to get less minutes.
You got Lolo.
He's just Tamalolo, you know? Like, it's hard to sort of put anyone else in there with as much confidence anyway. You know what I mean?
No, Maddo. Where's Maddo?
Yeah, he just fucking annoys me, Madison. He just annoys me. Like, I want to have him in there.
Are you making the call? Because there's a lot of people wanting you to crown this year's Liam Knight.
Yeah, we will have it. Don't worry. We're already on the lookout, and it will come. We'll keep that for the next week or two. I've got to do a little bit more research into it because Liam Knight for me last year was an open and shut case. But no, Maddo. Look, Maddo is top class second row. Absolutely, the numbers he does, the tackles he makes. The attacking performances are there sometimes, but it's just his workload is what makes him a gun in Supercoach, and you can definitely have him in there. But what annoys me is that he actually brings that Parramatta team down in attack. Everyone's sort of got to know their role, and I think his role is definitely in a defensive sort of way. And he just holds the ball too much. And you look at what happened last year to a player like Blake Ferguson. He's turned from one of the best players in Supercoach to one of the worst. Just because the ball can't get out to him, he doesn't get access out there. Whether it was Maddo, whether it was Wanga Blake, either of those two blokes stopping the ball. Now, I've heard in one of our chats, mate, that Maddo played left-hand side today rather than right-hand side. I'm not too sure how much truth there is to that. I'd have to probably go back and watch the trial and see what happened there. But, it's just, I don't know, a little bit weird.
The one thing about Lolo, and we talked a little bit about it last week, is yes, he might be playing a reduced minutes. It might be only 50, 55, 60 at best. But the output, and as we said, that he's just dropped the ball. The quality of his runs and things he's doing will be, tenfold, I think. And it's the same with Payne Haas. They're going to play less minutes, but when they do run, they're going to take 3-4 blokes 10, 20 metres, and they're going to run with a bit more aggression and power.
Yeah.
So, the quality should be there, and I think the points will still be there. I couldn't be too critical on Lolo. I think I might be looking for a little bit of a dip because I think you'll still want to get him in. He'll be one of the top back rowers by the end of the season, but I'm just not going to start with him at the price just to
see. That's what I look at with Haas. I've got the exact same opinion in that whether he plays 80 or whether he plays 55 or 60, he scores the same. Because what he does on the field will be so much more effective when he's not so tired. You see it, like we saw him last year, some of those 80-minute games, he looked like the drunk bloke down the pub. Yeah. He was putting in so much effort, but missed tackles here and there, just different stuff like that. And I think Lolo's going to be the same. If he'll be able to be a little bit more selective in attack. Defensively, obviously, he just does what he needs to do. We know it's not what he's about. But, the offloads, maybe they can come in. I don't know, too much of a classy player and too much of a proven history to say we need to drop him. You know what I mean?
I'd love to see him find some time on the edge for a bit of time as well, but it doesn't happen, unfortunately. No. Imagine him running at any half in the comp.
But when do you get him in?
I don't know, maybe the second stint, you just see what happens. I don't know.
So what do you reckon you wait the first 3 weeks, risk it to see what... I mean, look, if you don't start him and you have that opinion that you need him by the end of the season, when does he come in?
Well, he's priced at what? He's priced at over a 70 average.
I just 70. Didn't think his price was that bad. I thought at 640s...
Top 3 back row, and he was the most expensive after Gus and Maddo.
Yeah.
So he's priced at the top. If he doesn't score 70 or 80 in the first week, he could be looking at a 90, 100 point break even by round 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What's he priced at? 70. 2020 average is 73. So I don't know. He could still well do that, but I just want to have a look first. I think I'm more comfortable with Crichton and Maddo personally. and then filling that third spot with someone a bit cheaper.
Mm.
Um,
Now, look, let's go to the third one. Fatala Mariner. And we've got to put this one on Kano last year. He obviously called him as a pod and stuff, and I said he wasn't, and he just gunned it for the rest. Mate, I think it was... You might have been working one of the Raiders games a year or two ago, and when he went down injured that time, whether he did an MCL... Yeah.
Mm.
And he was gunning it that year. He was just playing brilliant. And I reckon in the last sort of 10, 12 weeks last season, we saw that again.
Mm.
And I reckon at 520k, he is just priced where you've got to have him. A lot of people looking at guys like Tino, 504 and stuff like that. And I'm not so much on the Tino bandwagon.
You scored a good try today.
I haven't yet. But they were only playing the Warriors.
Yeah, it was a nice. The big man, 40 out. It was pretty good. But anyway, go on.
Look, I'm not... Yeah, I'm just not convinced Tino's the way to go. But RFM, I just think, the attacking ability's there. Watching the Dogs today, they need every kind of attacking help they can get because Wakeham and Flanagan don't look good.
Did they have one on each side?
Yeah,
remember? It was Flano left,
Flano on the right.
So that Wakeham.
RFM didn't play, but
he didn't play.
No.
Okay.
Look, it looked a little bit awkward there today.
Look, he's an 80-minute back row. He hits the holes. He can get the attacking stats. I don't think it's terrible. Definitely be a pod to start the year, though.
Absolutely. In the bench, Capewell, Ricky and Blore. Look, Capewell, mate, I've always sort of said I'd avoid him, but I just thought his exposure to Origin last year was huge. He was, arguably one of the best players out there on the park for Queensland in a team that... What the fuck are you looking at? What are you smiling about?
Was it the Capewell, wasn't it? You've been watching the videos during the off-season?
Yeah. That's always a fan now, yeah. I've seen the videos.
He fucking put him in a little bit of his game. No, I hadn't even thought about that, to be honest. But hey, you got to do what you got to do for $1, mate. We've all been there.
In life's glory hole, you want to be on the right side.
$20 is $20.
He was on the right side. If
Yeah,
he could have
good
been
on
on
him.
the other side, that would have been much worse.
But look.
Where do you see him starting though? Like, Kickout's going to be one edge. I imagine Liam Martin's going to be the other. He might cycle in at times, but
Look,
where are you seeing?
Damn right, it could be 420k bad spent. He might go out there, and it's really come down to that team list Tuesday.
Yeah.
I see Martin as being where he is. I think you got to drop Kickout before you drop Martin, and I'm not saying they will. I don't think they will, but what I do think is that when Capel comes on, he's going to stay on.
Yeah.
I think whether he comes on 25 or 30 minutes into the game, I think they find a spot for him to stay there. The other thing I've been thinking is obviously the centre 3/4 spot. I don't think Tyrone May's good enough. I don't think Dean Vare's good enough.
Well, you got Bert, and then you got Momorovsky as well.
Momorovsky's the only one. Look, I think they've brought him for a reason. I think it'll be to play there, and that's given me a little bit more doubt. Burton, he's gone to the Dogs, mate. He's out.
We just watched there. Burton looks a fucking absolute superstar. He was kicking goals. He was. The sooner that kid can be playing, starting in the halves at a NRL club, the better. He's just going to be a superstar.
Man, I tell you what, we turned this on at 18-6, and now it's North Queensland 26-18. So look, Capewell, we'll see what happens there. Jordan Ricky, I don't even know what the kid looks like. I haven't watched him.
He's looking good.
Mate, I sat down with Corey Parker there last year when he came in. Him and Margot, his missus, bought a car off me, and we were having a chat about Supercoach. Cos has got not a fucking clue about Supercoach whatsoever. The kid, mate, he has got not a clue. But I said to him, mate, who can we look out for? And this was last year. He said Ricky. And I just nodded like I knew he was talking about. I didn't know who he was talking about last year, and we never saw him last year much. But, yeah, mate, he was talking about him over a year ago, so I'm keen to have him in there at 277k. Apparently he played all right last week. Not as effective tonight, a couple of the boys said in the chat, but yeah, let's see what happens there. And Sean Blore, look, he's obviously come out with that injury, that broken wrist or whatever it is. At the end of the day, I've always started every season with one or two cheapies on the bench that weren't playing or weren't changing, so he might just be that one. Yeah. Who knows? All right, let's go to the halves, mate. The back line, mate, these two blokes just picked themselves. You know, you spoke obviously a little bit earlier about Cody Walker coming back into calculations. I had Cody last year. But Cleary and Munster, I thought, I just simply think that Munster's the one that's got to step up for, you know, the absence of Cam Smith. Pappy might do it as well, obviously. Look, whoever got the kicking, at the end of the day, it's a huge bonus, and if that is Pappy, then maybe that makes a difference and we go that way. But, yeah.
Yeah, Walker's an interesting one though, I reckon. Like, whoever starts with Walker's got big dinosaur balls because he's starting at 650k in 2 of their first 3 games. They play Melbourne, Manly, and then the Chooks. So
Yeah.
if he doesn't produce in 2 of those games, he's probably seeing a big drop by round 3. But round 4, round 4 is where his fixtures actually start to get good because then they go Dogs, Brisbane, Tigers, Titans. So,
Well, and this is the thing.
I
mean,
think Munster's a better pick to start the year, and everyone's going to be high on Walker and Latrell now.
Yeah.
Like, a week ago, they played the Indigenous All-Stars, and everyone was fucking saying Latrell was useless.
yeah,
Fast forward a week later, they play the Dragons.
He's-
It's the
yeah.
fucking Dragons. Like, they're probably going to get the spoon this season.
yeah.
And now all of a sudden, everyone's, you know, high as fuck on both of them. But, yeah, anyway, I still think Munster's the pick.
Yeah.
I think he's a great pick. I'm still personally, like, in a bit of I'm not sure whether to just spend an extra 40, 50 grand and go from Brown to him, but I know there's got to be some differences somewhere. I don't mind Brown. But
Dylan Brown?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind him,
Start of
mate.
the year, I don't know.
I don't mind it.
Munster's fucked me so many times in the past. I brought him in 3 times last season. Like, he did his knee twice.
Yeah.
Fucking, and then, he scored 40s and shit when I bring him in. So I'm just looking for something different, and that's probably going to be in your
Well,
area for me,
I look at last year
Yeah.
as well. You speak about Dylan Brown. Obviously, he had his injury concerns last year, but Jerome Luai. Now, I've just watched a couple of highlights there, and
yeah.
his step off the left and him running that left-hand side.
Yeah.
He looks good. Like,
He's a
you
bit
know,
of a
there's a
sleeper.
couple
I
of
think
there's a
sleeping on
couple
him
of
and
guys
shit.
there that
Yeah.
can sort of step up and you know push themselves in that top echelon.
Agreed.
You know, so I mean, these guys have got both in sort of your mid 500s to start the season.
Yeah.
Why can't they turn into mid 600, 700k players this year? You know, it's another season under their belt. Luai may be a little bit harder because he's obviously got Cleary who's dominant beside him. But last year we were saying the same thing about Moses,
Yeah.
and Moses probably just had one of the worst seasons we've ever seen from him. You know, like so. I don't know. It's an interesting position in the halves. I just think those two guys are clearly the best
Yeah.
at the position. Yes, Walker is higher priced, but I think the upside with Munster and how much he's going to have to take control of that team means so much more. So, yeah.
Mate, Tracy, talking about Tracy, he's an interesting one. He's a cheapy dual half. Obviously, the Sharks spine will be an interesting one. SJ will miss the start of the season.
Yep.
You know, everyone's saying Moylan will get a spot. Chad will obviously have the half.
Yeah.
Does he find, you know, possibly the fullback jersey to start the season? What
No,
you say,
no. And that's what I saw there today, and I was watching intently today. Look, I still don't mind him as a pick there again. He's a cheap half. You've got to sort of have someone in there. Cronulla in the trial today started with, what do you call his name? What's his name? Kennedy at fullback.
Yep.
And he looked to pick up where he left off last year. He's got a good impact. He's not a big body, but he's awkward at times. Moylan played 5'8" and looked good. He looked really good. So for him, it's just a matter of when does the first injury come, which we see every season. And when it does, I think that's where Tracy slots in. Obviously, Chad Townsend's going to have that spot. Josh loves Munster because he loves a bend. Oh, fuck. Yeah, we share that in common, mate, I tell you. Yeah, look, I think whether Tracy plays the 14, whether he plays in a starting role, if he's obviously in the 14, it's not going to fucking do much because, you know, he's not going to have too much time on the park. But he did look good today in the trial. He came on and he played. I think he came on for the second half, maybe just before the first half finished. But he looked good. So a few line breaks here or there. I think he had one line break where he probably busted through about 6 tackles as well. So there's something there with him, and it's just trying to get that bloke. It's like your Connor Watsons and your Kurt Manns and these blokes that you just like, you know, you duffed it. They're brilliant footballers, but we speak about the versatility thing and not being able to nail down one position, and I think he's another one that's going to sort of fall under that.
Yeah, until a couple of guys move on, I think maybe he does find that 14 as Ados is saying, like he might come off that bench, maybe play a little bit of hooker, or someone gets injured, fill in anywhere. So,
mate, wings and centres. Look, Zach Lomax killed me last year. Absolutely killed me last year not having him at any stage.
Yeah.
Started the season off with him in all the drafts and that and things like that, and got rid of him and just didn't go back there. And finishes the year, prices at $605K for this year. So, look, I can see in the comments there, couldn't be more overs. Last year I bought Nofo at, what was Nofo last year? 600K. He was just that player that I was happy to have last year. He won me that many head-to-head matches. Yep. I had him in both my drafts. I think Lomax is this player. What I've seen from this kid is just, I think he can be the right centre for New South Wales for the next 8 years.
What's amazing is he's doing it in a fucking terrible football side as well. So, even today, from the couple of times I did watch, he put Ramsey away down the sideline. He kicks the goals as well. 600 is a big price. So, if you're starting with him at 600K, you bloody must think he's definitely keeper.
I've had him in there. Yeah, I do.
At that price, but I couldn't blame him. He was unreal last year. He was one of the best centres in the comp last year.
Yeah. The other thing I'll point out as well before I go, I've still got 240K in the bank.
Well, there you go.
So, where that 240K came from was the fullback spot.
I've just looked at your fullbacks.
Yeah, so that's why.
The other thing that was interesting today was Jack Bird. I know they got absolutely belted, but again, in the short time that I was sort of having a look, he didn't look bad.
Yeah.
Jackie Bird, both those centre pairings. I know they're not going to do anything with a couple of good centres, but Jackie Bird was looking not too bad either.
It's just, it's so hard because that team, you look at it on paper and you think there's talent there, you know what I mean? But it just, they've gone from having McGregor as a coach and now Hook, and just, something's wrong down there.
Well, imagine what Hook could be thinking now after tonight. Holy dooly. So
yeah.
Long year for Dragons fans.
Absolutely.
But anyway, moving on to the rest of them.
Mate, Averillo, I just think this kid's a gun.
He won't start the year.
Yeah, that's the issue, is obviously injury-wise where we're going to be. Look, he's probably not going to be there to start the team, but as soon as he becomes healthy and forces his way in, whether it's at 6, whether it's at 3 or 4, whatever position he plays for him, the stuff I saw from that guy last year, he's a top-line player. So I think he can only benefit that Bulldogs team. I think they've probably got a couple of decisions to make within halves. Obviously, they've signed Flanagan.
Mm-hmm.
So much. When does Burton go there? Next year, is it?
They're trying, I think, negotiate.
Trying to get him here this year.
The rumour is that the Dogs are trying to get rid of Napa so they can get Burton. But
yeah. Look,
it's likely Burton will be there from next year.
Mate, Charlie Staines, we've got him in there purely based on duality, really. I'm not really worried. Mate, he played one game. You know what I mean? He fell over the line 4 times in one game. There's no hype there. This kid's not as amazing as people might think, but he's simply a centre wing fullback that gives you that bit of,
He's going to be the one that will burn.
Pedro's saying Averillo good for round 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right, okay. I thought he'd done. Was it?
I thought it was elbow injury.
I can't remember. I thought he was missing a few weeks.
I didn't think he'd play round 1 as of maybe a week or 2 ago.
He'd probably come straight into contention for me again. But I think Staines is going to be those ones that's going to be fucked this year. He's going to score. He'll have those sub-20s just because of the type of winger he is, but then he's going to have those 100 pluses. And it's just going to be a nightmare.
But look, you probably, with the loss of Mansour, you probably raised Brian To'o's stocks because how hard he brings back the ball and how involved he gets from fullback, or from wing. It's just in a team that scores points, mate. Like Staines, and look, that makeup of obviously who's the centre 3/4 and how much ball you get and everything like that. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to look at, but. You're basically in probably the best attacking team in the comp.
Yeah.
And he got one chance at that last year and scored 4 tries. We know that's not going to happen every week, but if he can go through the season and score 20, 22 tries in 25 games, well, you're one of the best wingers in the game kind of thing,
you
know.
You can't not have him.
Yeah.
At 300k, he's just...
If he was 450, I wouldn't even have him there, but at under 300, I think he's a chance. Mate, Fusatua I put in yesterday. I can't even remember who I dropped. I was fucking around. How is David Fusatua 251k? Is he that useless?
He did not much last year.
Like,
I think he's been injured a bit.
Mamalo on the, I think he was injured a fair bit. Mamalo went from fucking diamonds the year before to rocks last year. Like, now we're talking obviously RTS going to Union. He signed with them from 2022.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's heaps of guys in the centre wing that have team the shoes up. You got guys like, Tessie New, James Roberts, Jason Saab, Avarillo, Fitzatua, Simonson. There's a whole heap of them.
We'll put it this way: the first 3 guys that you just mentioned there, Saab, James Roberts, and Tessie New, I just can't have them.
Yeah.
I can't have Jimmy the Jet. Like, he's not a good player for mine. Like, I know he's quick, but he's just not a good player. He's in the fucking list. He's on the list. He is.
I don't know. I just personally don't think what you're getting out of Fuss is that much different to what you're getting out of guys like, Roberts or...
That's who I had in there. Herbie Farnworth.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
he's got a bit of potential.
I think he's got game, but he's just in a Broncos team that are just fucking rat shit at the moment.
Terrible in this trial.
I don't mind Herbie Farnworth. I don't know whether he's playing here tonight or whatever, but there you go, game over. 34-18 after leading 18-6. So look, obviously centre 3/4 is the position every year where we sort of struggle, where it's like, do you spend money, do you not spend money? It's always, you see people's teams at the start of the year, it's where people have got 7 spots and you've spent 1.8k, so I don't know.
Ados, he's got what, you have 240k in the bank. Ados was asking,
240k in the bank. Mate, Brimson at fullback.
Yes.
Obviously, there's a lot of talk around the Titans and what's happened there.
Yeah.
A few good signings in the off-season. I think this is the guy who benefits from those signings.
Yeah.
I think his attack last year, his game last year was awesome. Fafita, Tino, what they already had with Big Mo. I think, as silly as it sounds, like Jared Wallace actually had a little bit of a resurgence towards the end of last year. He's a fucking cat of a player, but there'll be just that few weeks where he actually puts in the effort. I think they've got the forward pack there that he can play off the back of. The X factor is just huge for him. So, look, it's at the expense of Teddy. Obviously, there's 240k there. Do I just go straight to Teddy?
Pappy's cheaper than him.
How do you pick them all?
Oh no, and this is
what I mean? How do you pick them all?
Fullback's the spot where you can't have all of them. So, there's going to be weeks where I think he's probably one of the best up and comers in the game as well. Brimo,
like, do I go back up to Junior Paulo, drop back down to a Murdoch Masilla, and change Moylan to a Pappy and run that? Do I try and find Teddy and Pappy combo, fuck Lomax off and go back to a mid-range centre 3/4? I mean,
I think you have to run 2 good fullbacks. That's all I do. Tracy's not going to play. If he's not going to start, you're obviously going to put Moylan there, or maybe not. I don't know. But I think you've got to run 2 solid fullbacks. They're just too... they're the modern day, I don't know if you'd call it halves, but that's where all the points are, right? Like, they're the guys that are scoring hundreds every week and consistently. So I reckon you've got to run two fullbacks, basically.
So, and that's it. That's just the juggling act. You look, there's basically the centre 3/4 bench that I've got there. There's no money there. Simonson, Fagai, Suwali.
Yeah.
Obviously, Suwali probably won't even play. Or I don't think they'll give him clearance. They'll make him wait till August, as good as the kid might be, could be, whatever. Scored 2 tries, played well, but again, playing a fucking C-grade side.
Was that Swally? Yeah, he was playing for the Bears. It was like a reserve grade sort of.
Yeah, but see, it would have been the power of that jersey.
Well, to be honest, the first try that he should have passed, which was another interesting thing. He had a man unmarked outside.
Yeah.
He went himself and nearly got stopped.
Yeah.
To be fair, and the second one he was
Over the
5
line
metres
already,
out.
yeah.
He didn't have to beat someone 1-on-1. Like everyone's deep throating him, but it wasn't nothing that special. But
And look,
for his age.
And look, he's got a bit of diva about him, you know, the demands he was making and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
but again, I'm looking at forget how he plays, forget whether he'll start. At this time of the year, you've got to have some 170k players in your team. It's as simple as that.
I think Walker will get a start very quickly. And today he showed how classy he is. I don't think Liam will be there for long. And Swaley will probably be another one. The only problem with Swaley is he's got to find a spot there when you got, the Morris brothers who are probably injured every other week anyway. You got Tupu and Manu, so he's not going to take a jersey off those guys unless they get injured, or at Origin time. So, but I agree with you. If you at some point you might want to loop throughout the year or whatever, you can't have every position some decent sort of cheapie that's going to make money. You got to have some bottom dollar guys. I think.
People ask you, I'm comfortable every year having 23 starting round one. I'm fine having 2 players. I don't want any more than that, not playing, because you obviously want to bank coin and make cash off bloke come round 4. But I'm fine to have a max of 2 players there who have potential to start, but may not be starting straight away. Don't get me wrong, all these people in the last few years that you've seen have fucking Ben Trebojevic on their fucking team and stuff like that. The kid's never getting a spot in the team. It's dumb as shit. But someone like that, if they clear him or at any stage, Nick gets in their pocket and puts enough in there and he gets him cleared for the Roosters, he gets a start, So, I don't know. We'll see.
No, mate, definitely some that I would not have expected had you got me to pick your team, from the start. But, and I still think you make a few changes. Obviously, you got guys like Blore who you might want to try and find someone in those positions that'll make you money. But, overall not bad. We'll see, mate, how different it is for round 1. I know you'll probably have Matto and Teddy by then. That's what you do. Last minute, you just go, oh, fuck.
Yeah, and it normally ends up blessing
and
you.
And then they end up scoring 120 in the first week.
Exactly. Look, I think I'm going to avoid Matto. Teddy's always the one, mate. I've got Brimo there, and
it's unbelievable.
He's just that good, mate. How can you not? He is just that good. Tackle breaks. He scores 40 points a run. It's just ridiculous. So, I mean, the only thing that I've got against having Teddy in there is the fact that the halves are so raw. I know Teddy creates himself. He doesn't need other players there to do it. But the few times that I've seen him sort of maybe run off a off a Kiri half break, or something like that, if the Roosters get put on the back foot in their forwards and their halves don't produce, he's not going to score points, no matter how good he is. So, I'm happy to leave him and hope, like anyone who does leave him, that he drops to 700k or 680 or whatever it is, and try and jump on then. Because I've got no doubt at the end of the year he's still the best averaging player in the game in Supercoach. So that's the hard part. If you're going to make that declaration, why wouldn't you just have him from the start and just enjoy the ride?
Yeah, I mean, what's their draw? They play Manly round 1, Tigers round 2. So how comfortable are you not having Teddy to start with Manly and the Tigers? If it was Melbourne or someone, I could understand it, but there's every chance he'll be a captain for the first 2 weeks, and good luck to anyone that doesn't own him those first 2 weeks, I reckon. But at the same time, he's 850k, so I couldn't be was he 850?
He's a gun and a half. He's a gun and a half. It's not.
He's dropping playing any teams. It's not fucking Manly or the Tigers, but we'll see. 843. Fucking hell.
It's a lot of money. There's a lot of player.
Anyway.
So, but again, it's just all right. You chuck him in there. Where do you sacrifice elsewhere? Because you have to.
You have to.
At the end of the day, for 800k in there, you know, one of your guns turns to a mid-range or a cheapie somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
and for me, it's the props. Like I think that's
and that's where I look at and I think, all right, let's say Teddy bangs out 100 and Brimo bangs out 80.
Yeah.
There's 20 points difference. Does Junior Paulo bang out a 60? And does whoever else I put in there, a mid-ranger, bang out a 40?
Yeah.
You know, the 20 points either way, where does it get to?
You got to balance it.
Again, if that 20 points remains the same and Teddy's scoring 80 and Brimo's 60, well, then in 3 weeks, Teddy's going to drop in price.
Yeah.
You know? So...
This is the joys of Supercoach, mate. It's all about that balancing act.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
I feel I need Teddy to start because by the time you can buy him, it's round 7 to 8, almost origin time, and consideration for selling. Oh, never sell a gun, Kano. Fuck, do you sell him going into origin? You can't, can you?
Well, I don't know. I think
Fuck.
you have a look at. I'd have to have a look at how often he sort of gets rested after origin, or what he sort of tends to do during that origin period. But anytime he's playing, he's dangerous.
Sport reactions. Latrell Mitchell is a must.
Definitely not a must.
Can you ban that guy, mate? No, I'm kidding.
I'm as big a fan of Latrell as anyone, but Supercoach wise, Latrell is one of the laziest fullbacks in the comp.
Yeah.
The reality is, yes, you can get 3. Like you'll see what he did tonight, but I'd prefer the fullbacks like your Pappies and your. Even Brimo. I'd prefer Brimo.
I need consistency. I need a bit more heart.
These guys will run the ball 20 times in a game. Latrell won't do that. But Latrell...
Need more heart.
Yeah.
He stands out of a morning, ankle deep in the water with the Aboriginal flag. How much more heart do you want?
I think the interesting thing will be, is they haven't offered Reynolds a big contract. I think they've offered him a 1-year extension. At some point he'll retire and Latrell will get the kicking. At that point he becomes a bit more of
Reynolds will retire?
Well, they've only offered him a 1 year... No, but he's fucking not that young. They only offered him a 1 year contract.
And he's not happy.
Which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, but I've said he's on my list purely because of injuries.
Have plans. But yeah, and that's the thing. Latrell's kicking goals, he's a different prospect again as well. I mean, that South team's going to have a lot of points in him this year as well, but the fact is now he's not kicking goals. So
how's the mullet on Pappy?
Yeah, so...
The mullet's strong on that one.
Yeah,
so... I'm looking here. Look at it. That's flowing. That's...
Like I said, in the
Patrick
All-Stars
Swayze
game,
in Roadhouse.
the All-Stars game everyone was off in. Fast forward a week later, they beat the Dragons. And everyone has to get him in now.
Yeah. Great, now I need to Photoshop fucking Pappenhausen onto...
Patrick Swayze. Roadhouse.
The promising ones were this for me was Colin Matungi looked good. He got the start on the edge. Murdoch Masilla as well. I think Manly will play tomorrow. See Davey. So there was a few guys like that. I want to go back and watch the Penrith game to see how Leota went and the noob. But there was plenty of guys that were relevant and guys you might not have a look at that you'll get to have a good look at if you go back and watch these trials now. And mate, I think it was good this weekend. It was really good and it sets us up well for next weekend and drafts. And like I said, you're in 30,000 drafts that you probably have no idea.
Tell me then, what do we got?
So what is it? It's the Sunday night before Team List Tuesday, which will be, I think it's the...
Is that this one? The BJ one?
Yeah, it'll be the BJ one on the
So that's
Sunday.
on the Sunday night.
Yep. And it's the day...
So you guys have got Canberra Day on the Monday,
we got a public
and I'm fucking going to work.
Yeah.
So me and Brent will be doing shots.
So that's the night we're going to get all the boys to set up their own stream, or what are we doing there?
Well, they'll probably jump
we
in
Skyping in?
They can Skype in.
Yep.
Right. Oh, Taylor says Skype for old guys as well. Well, we're old guys, Taylor.
Yeah, we are old.
I'll show you something young, but,
No, well, we've got the Discord, but you cunts don't know how to use it.
I still don't know what fucking Discord is, but anyway.
So the Discord's on the Twitter.
And then you're in another one.
Wait, we've got a Discord.
Yeah.
You've created a Discord for our channel.
I haven't set it up yet because I'm going to have to get a digital... I'm going to have to fuck around with this setup, right?
Right.
But I want to be able to take calls at the end of the show.
Yeah, okay.
From the Discord.
Fuck.
So rather than answering the fucking nonsense from chat...
That reminds me.
We can go to the green room and pluck someone out.
Cheers, Adra.
Chat to them.
Yeah, gotcha.
We got to pimp my team, which I said was your domain. I'll have to send it through.
Yeah, well, I said to Bogs today when I texted him through, I said, do we do a pimp my team? Because I've had a couple sent through from the boys. And again, apologies to anyone who is watching who has sent through some stuff. Actually, fuck it. I've got my phone here.
If we do a pimp my team, it'll have to be next weekend.
Hang on.
Matty Titan.
My dog ran last tonight as well, boys.
Matty
Just to update
Titan
on the
sent me through
dogs.
his
Fucking
team,
side.
so I'll send you that through, Josh.
Actually, yeah, Matty sent me through his
Did
on
he?
the.
Matty Titan?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh.
Matty, I don't go to the BJ fucking
No,
messages too much.
And he said that he tried to reach out to you, so I was gonna.
Also, Leanne, Fire and Ice.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, she wants in. Leanne Kemp.
Yep, we got to get her the
Chuck her
invitational code.
I've sent it to her.
Okay.
Oh, hang on.
Do we want to announce?
Hi, Leanne. Welcome back. Brent and I will.
Special
Are you
occasion
keen?
being
Or was that last year's one?
all
Wait, what year are we?
Yeah, if you want.
2020.
21.
2021.
Oh, that was last year's messages. All right.
We could have skipped 2020.
Leanne will get you the invitational codes.
Yeah.
I've got.
Brent will give you that invitation.
Tomo, he's already in,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah,
Big
Tomo's
puppy.
in.
Joel.
Yep. And
He's
You
in.
know Matty Lebeda? Is it Matty Lebeda?
Lebeda. Yeah, they've seen the name a couple of
So
seasons.
he's, I think, Hunter. Is he
Yeah.
Hunters? Is it
no, the
Oh,
Hunters.
so he's something All Stars.
So, yeah, Hunters, I believe, is the Shockmaster.
Yeah, and the bookend All Stars.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, from the chat.
So we want to announce the All In.
See, there we go.
We're gonna,
Kane Anderson. If Bogan just got Messenger, we wouldn't need Discord. He fucking hates Facebook, mate.
I do.
Zuckerberg's the devil.
Though I
Fucking hell.
was on his side recently, but yeah, I'm still not a fan of Facebook.
Oh, you want to put
who's-
these allegations of draft orders and shit?
No,
Here
we
and
can,
there?
I can wait.
Yeah,
till
because I'm in person
half-
and you're a fucking keyboard warrior. That's why.
Oh, no, I was going to say I can wait till I'm half cut and we're actually picking
Yeah,
the
see? See? I'm here now. So
Well,
you
what?
want, you
Well,
want
no,
to
let's call it out then. Let's call it
Oh,
out.
I didn't do that.
So, me and Kane Anderson,
Yeah.
last and second last,
In what?
in the
No,
draft picks.
No, wrong.
Oh, because you're afraid of Mana, that's right.
Well, Mana's
If you're good,
last.
Mana's
Mana's
last.
Who's?
And
So the
then,
BJ draft. which
Oh,
you-
we
you
did
wouldn't
on
have
the
fucking any idea. We did the horse race.
we did
Remember?
the Blue Diamond.
And that thing one that the number 7
Yeah,
one, and
yeah.
I was like, and he's reckoned I've G'd it up.
he's cheated up.
What do you mean he's cheated up?
Because he sent me the results after.
Because
the
he's
race.
not in the fucking messenger chat. Everyone else sees it except for him, and he's saying I've rigged it.
Mate, I was watching the race live. We're all.
He's put all
Oh.
his rivals
I've gone
down the
live.
bottom and put himself as number 1 draft pick.
Unbelievable. They would have to put up with you.
All right, let's have a quick look at Matty. You keep arguing about that. I'm
Brent,
having a look
you
at
wanna
Matty
do all
Titan's team.
Brent is about to announce the all-in code. So for
Alright.
those watching on the VOD or for those listening,
Damien
the
Cook's
all-in code
good.
is Brent.
Connor Watson, yeah.
Yes.
Clem
so
Murdoch.
the all-in code.
Yeah,
so
that's
any
right.
guys in the invitation, obviously, which is probably all the boys in the chat, don't jump into this one. Shano, we will boot you if you join this one as well.
Shane wants to be fucking every league possible. Get him in.
No, it's his son's team.
Oh, that's right, yeah, and the wife's team. The wife's had a good team as well.
Alright, so here
His dog's team's good as well.
this year.
his dogs. Alright.
In the chat.
I don't need you.
He was earlier. I think he's gone now, but yeah.
Feeding him. Alright, so the all-in code for anyone that's not in the invitational, all-in code for this year is 770177.
That's
So
got a
for
nice
anyone
ring to
in here tonight that's still on, 70.
Oh, you fucked that up. 7701.
770177. Pretty easy. Jump in, first in, best dressed. We'll probably announce it again on Tuesday if it's not full.
Usually fills up pretty quickly, but it would only be for those who are watching late. So get in there now.
Yeah, jump in if you haven't already. Well, you wouldn't have because you wouldn't have the code, but jump in as quickly as you can. If you take out that league, a chance of playing the BJ.
And Matty Titan, we
Right.
may as well do a quick pimp my team off the cuff. You've got Turbo still in there, mate, so that's maybe one to
Is
get
that
rid
Matty?
of. Yeah, Matty Titan's team. He's got Turbo there.
His
He's
team
got
wasn't too bad
Harawira
when I
Nira.
looked at it.
Harawira Nira, I had him in there until obviously this DUI stuff. And how long has Ricky pissed him off for?
It's indefinite. He could
Indefinite,
be back
yeah.
in the first month, which all of a sudden it makes interesting for him as well.
Maybe Mitchell Moses on the bench, DCE starting half. Look, it's a risk, but it's not 730k like Cleary is.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't
So,
know.
yeah, look, at the end of the day, they're both blokes who have proven themselves before, so, you know, maybe that's where they go. He's got Cody Walker, Avarillo, Staines, Sub, and Tessie New in the wings and centres, which, yeah, again, like we say, you get those combinations where they're all cheapies.
Ados is saying, let's get a Bogan reveal. Let's get a look more.
Oh, dear. I tell you
What
what,
happening?
the cat looks good on there. I tell you, let's just stick with that.
Not weird.
Maybe that can be if you win draft, you get a
Mate, I tell
signed
you what,
photo.
if
Of
we-
the
Side
Bogan-
photo of both.
of the Bogan.
If we get 10,000 subscribers and I don't have to fucking work a job anymore, that I get fired for saying it's the wrong fucking.
Ados, if you win the draft this year, we'll give you a signed photo of the Bogan mailed out to you, alright?
In a North Sydney Bears jumper. Yeah, so Matty Titan, mate, not too bad.
Yep.
Pretty good. He's got Crichton,
It was
Madison,
a solid team.
Dave Fafita in the second row. He's got Clemmer and Murdoch Masilla. He's got Cookie. Mate, it's solid enough. It's just, Turbo and Harawira-Nira. You got to have a look at those and where you're going to go instead. And then, if you want some cash to spend elsewhere, maybe Moses down to a cheapie, but because you've already got DCE in there, but I can see that staying. Put it this way, if you need the cash to get from Turbo to Teddy, move Moses down to a Sam Walker or a fucking whoever, and you get straight to Teddy. So, there you go. Pappy, he's kicking for goal.
We're
just watching the replay here.
With him as well. Newcastle were terrible. I will want to have a good look at Watson in this, actually. I didn't get to see much of this. Will be keen. Did anyone see how Watson went today? I didn't get a good look at him. I know he wore the 13 to start, but anyway. So we will.
Roden House.
We will do on Tuesday night. We'll run through centre wingers, fullbacks. Joshy, you'll be joining us again, mate.
I'll be back.
Hey.
I'm here. I'm back on board. But I tell you what, Ados, huge effort last week. I do appreciate that, mate. So, loved your work there. I only got through the first hour and 20 minutes of it because who the fuck can do a 2-hour show? But you did well. But you guys, if you want to do it again, if you want to call in, Kano, mate, we're keen to get you on as always. Any lads?
Taylor Jane wants to do
Taylor, look,
a weekly segment.
Taylor.
I don't know about a weekly segment.
You're gonna have to put
Something weekly, but
you're gonna have to put your granny panties on and get on Skype then. If that's the case.
yeah, look, Taylor, we'll get you on there, Don, and we'll go out for sushi soon. Don't you worry.
Fucking hell. Is that what your Gold Coast fucking?
Mate, we've got our sushi date planned, and I've been on holidays too much. We can't make it out together, so there you go.
Sushi, there you go.
Yeah.
Look, and you can even give us a week off every now and then if that's the case. Bogan can't have a week off, but
Bogan can't. You can. I'll
say
go.
that.
I'll go special guest with someone else, and
Bogan out of all this puts in
Big
the most
Ted,
time.
me and Benny. I'll get the soft serve Benny.
Yeah, we'll have to do an
Soft
early
serve
one,
Benny.
he's over the
Yeah,
ditch.
it'd have
Yeah.
to be pre-recorded.
Yeah. Big Ted's a tough one. We always want to get him in there, but Anything else, boys? That's a
No,
short
I
one.
don't
That'll do us.
I don't
I've got to
think so. I
drive
think-
back to Queensland in about 6 hours, so yeah.
Good to have you back, mate. Good to see you. As
Cheers,
always.
boys.
I think everyone's frothing in the chat as well, so it's good to see. And we'll be back as usual on Tuesday, eh?
Mate, looking forward to a very big season to come. No COVID, hopefully, and hopefully everyone can fucking follow the rules and whatever. But Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock, as scheduled.
I will take this opportunity though to say I'm running 2 Cashy Classic Leagues and I need to try and fill them. So if you're interested, non-BJ affiliated, let me know. I'm running a $20 Cashy and a $50 Cashy in Classic. Pay head-to-head and
Hashtag
overall.
gamble responsibly.
It's not gambling, it's a gentleman's agreement and ladies' agreement if interested. But hit me up. Just send me.
Yeah, well,
a DM.
actually,
let me know.
that is the definition. Is as long as the house doesn't take anything, it's not gambling.
Yeah, but it is the house of Hampton.
Well, no, but he's not taking the vig. He's not taking nothing.
I finished 5,000.
I tell you what, admin for the Calcutta. How was that? Did you see that and read it? 10% of a $45,000 Calcutta.
Yeah, not bad.
Oh, $4,500 rusty pocket. Anyway, that's 8 ball stuff.
So anyway, if you're interested, I'm running a 50 and a 20. I think I've got about half a dozen spots left in the 20. Heaps in the 50. So just let me know if you can. No pressure, but let me know.
And if you're looking to fill your leagues up, leave the codes in the comments.
Beauty.
Cool. All right, guys. Catch us all Tuesday.
See yous.
Keep talking a bit, pal.
Why?
Here we go.
Click end stream.
Yeah, no, fucking mouse.
Get the fuck out of here, cunts.
It's still on.
Still on. Still there. Fucking gold. Beautiful.